Well, we are back on Magnolia Bluff in Seattle. This is a nice neighborhood, and there is a house here that has a 60-year accumulation. It's been in the same family, and it looks like there's a lot of stuff. We're in a beautiful place. The mountains are out. It's a lovely day. We can spend just a minute looking in the backyard here. This is open to us while we're waiting to get into the house. $80 on the bird bath. These planters all seem newer, $300 on the pagoda, and then $150 on the lawn jockey. This is an old one. You can tell the condition is not super great. We think of this as being politically incorrect now, but it was actually based on George Washington's horseman. There's a very handsome carved oak bed from about 1900. There's just a lot of variety here. Science Digest. That's a radio program on NPR nowadays. $40 on binoculars. Another nice little oak piece here. I could dance with you forever, $30. Wonderful piece, just not great condition. Well, it looks like it's older, but a little spread there. I don't really have anything to repair it with. Someone just looked through the stamps and didn't pick anything, and that makes me think they know what they're talking about. These look like 1940s, and once you get to that age, not so much demand. Interesting lamp here. A little pagoda. Wonder how much age that has, $30. It's certainly interesting looking. Steve Allen Market and Strike It. Might be something to consider. Has the dust jacket. He was certainly interesting enough. Started the Tonight Show and everything. Totem pole is cool. They want $500 though. That seems about right. Inside the Playboy Mansion. I'd been to the Playboy Mansion once. It was quite fascinating, as you can imagine. A great picture of me in the grotto somewhere in somebody's file. This was $50 when it was new, so I have a hunch that this would sell. When was this made? 1998. Yeah, I think I'm going to put this in my bag. I'm not sure how much books are. Older Bullwinkle shirt by Collegiate Pacific. Bet they're asking $30 for that. Oh my, Tasmanian Devil. Oh, it's a greeting card. That's kind of fun. You bring out the beast in me. I kind of like that. Clibon Cats. Horace Clibon died in 1993 when his work was still very popular. I wonder how old this is. $30 on the men's sweater. If this is Dale or one of the Norwegian ones, that could be a good price. I do not see a label though. A pad from the Seattle World's Fair. $15. We would have used this to sit in Memorial Stadium and watch the boat races, amongst other things. I don't really see this piece very often. I think it could be cleaned a little, so I think we'll take it. A couple of very 70s looking pillows down here in leather, but they want $25 each. Clothes look old, but not vintage cool, so we'll keep on going. Airline cards here. All you invest boyfriend.
This is a cutie.
Lots of Beanie Babies. Neat side-by-side here. Hard to get back from anything. This place is really stuffed, but this is a nice piece of furniture for $200. We'll see if this has a logo of any sort. It does. It's Qantas. That's cool. Cute print from the 1920s. And $25 on this mirror is not a bad price. Electronics are hiding in here. They had a sign. Let's see if anything looks old and interesting. Well, I do like this radio. It's German. Automotive. Lorenz. It's a little dented though, and the feet are bad, so I think we're going to leave that one. Is it transistor or is this still battery operated? Transistor, $10 is a good price, but we got to see if the batteries are corroded. And then it looks like there's an old camera. Oh, just the case. Too bad for a nice old Kodak camera. The case is worth something that I don't have the camera right now. They want 100 for the Normando receiver. The radio is an Emerson, which wasn't a great brand, but an okay brand. The number 888 Pioneer, never break pocket radio. All right, let's see what we have in here. This fellow was involved in a lot of organizations, and wow, did he have a lot of paper. They said they took 17,000 pounds of paper to recycling from here. That's a great cover. This looks like it's an old plaque, maybe from a casket or something. Oh, a cute little dexterity game where the cat tries to chase the mouse into that little mouse trap there. I like that. Dick Tracy is one of the little books that still sells. 1945 Christmas. Reagan was very popular in his time, but not with everybody. This is presented by Mother Jones magazine back in the time. We have a miner's lamp here. That could be good for me where I sew. We'll put that in the bag. Oh, the 1964 World's Fair. I'm sure this was fun to watch. It was on PBS originally. I don't have a VHS player anymore, though. Advertising of the 50s. I'm sure this is fun. It looks like it's a bunch of cards. Humor cards. Oh, these are advertising. Portrait of Anxiety. These are based on pre-Columbian figures, but they want $30 a piece for them. Kowloon Dairy, that's interesting. Crayola Crayons clock, $40, but it's got damage. Cute little bank here. We see these pretty often, and it's a little scratched. Lots of good Seattle books, and some of these would definitely sell where I sell at Lander Street Vintage, so I may take a few of these. Glimpses of historic Seattle, various scenes all the way back to Pioneer era. Seattle Then and Now is fun because they show what was there and what's there now. That's when Smith Tower was built and was the tallest building west of the Mississippi for a long time. Seattle in the 1880s, I've read that one. Or Above Seattle and Over Washington are fun. You get to see aerial photos of everything. License plates, $10 on 62, $10 on California, $40 on 41. Old Anagrams game. Ah, another big little book. Roy Rogers. Well, that's not a bad one. Buck Rogers would be even better. Matchbook collections, including that one there. Trader Vic's, so there's a few famous old things that aren't around anymore. Oh, I like these, and it's fun that they're all mounted in the display, all of these cereal premiums from 1953. Don't think that one's priced, I'll have to ask. These are always fun when they open up wide and are various colors. Roof trusses of Spokane. Alaska Airlines Boeing freighter service looks like that got chewed a bit. Oh, and look at that fun little bookmark. We'll put that aside. New Zealand timbers. Oh, how interesting. I've seen the American version, but never New Zealand. It's too bad it's got the ink stain on it. Nowadays, there's call for these old oak filing cabinets. This turtle is a unlimited edition print. All right, the kitchen. Let's see what we have here. This looks sort of similar to Roosters and Roses. These are a great shape. I think they're just local handmade pottery. Some little English pieces. This is probably R.S. Prussia here because it's a very ornate form. And yes, there's the mark. The rose transfer is not good though. Big knife block. These are Gorham. Some of them even have the labels still. These were made in Belgium to go with Gorham. Bakelite bottle opener. It's definitely been used a lot. A square baker in the Corelware. Let's see who did this baker here. I think this is Japanese. Yes, oven to table. That's one of theirs from about 1980. Some nice little copper kettles here. $10 on the Peak Dairy products. Those are cute. I don't think they're that old though because of the shape. United Milk over there with the embossing is older. English pub table. You can see how those work when you pull the ends out. And this one's nice because you can pull chairs up to it. Let's see who this funky guy is. A studio I haven't heard of. $30 each on the seltzer bottles. This one's got a nice etched mark from New Jersey. We see this one quite a bit. Alabaster eggs are $5 each. 15 on the lucite. That's amazing. They were able to capture that dandelion before it blew. One of my favorite cars ever. First by far with a post-war car. They beat the rest of the market and their designs were very innovative for that time. And you can tell that because on the other side, here's what a Dodge looked like in the same year. Very stodgy by comparison. All right, let's see what the picture is since it's $15 from Indianapolis. Miss Mini Universe? Miss Minnesota Free Universe, I see. Marilyn Johnson. Well, that's interesting. Great trophy. They had a whole bunch of these posters in another room. Oh, they're Pepsi. Okay. Some geodes. Nicely carved page turner here. Acorn and leaves. And a brood. $8. That's actually kind of a neat old piece. Well, let's see. This is kind of interesting. $35. Something machined. Very sharp. A lot of people would sew the old leather postcards onto something. This has souvenirs from Seattle around 1907. And Tacoma and Detroit. $75 on that piece. And here are the remaining ones that came off. Everyone is picking this up. It's $25. I'd like to see who the maker is. It has a design that looks like Weirette. Now, if that said Sperry, we'd have a bargain there. Cute old lamp made with a Chinese figure from about 1930 or 40. Boy, they said they had books, and they sure do. Apparently, this person could not live without books. 50s style Life in America. I'm sure a lot of these are really interesting to read. History of the 20th Century. Illusion and Invention of Los Angeles. If a serious book person comes in who knows these titles, they're going to make some money because there are a lot of good reads in here, and some of these are going to be worth quite a bit more than the $2 or $4 they're asking. More cut crystal, 20 on the nappy. This one feels like it might be, oh no, not brilliant cut either, $30 though. These prices are fine. It's about what I'm getting for these pieces these days, and they are selling. Salt dips are something people buy. Is she crawling on the floor or playing craps? I can't quite tell what she's doing. $5 on Esquire is all about women from a man's point of view. I have a feeling that a lot of women would probably not enjoy reading that now. Interesting piece of ironstone. Unfortunately, it's got some damage. Italian. What every young man should know, another Esquire book. Gilded platter here, meat platter, and this one I believe is going to be Limoges.
If your husband yells at me, I'm going to tell him.
Favorite Bavaria. Very traditional Victorian design, but this probably dates to the 20s. Let's see how much the cigar holder in the case is here. Best made, this should be from about 1910. $10, not a terrible price, but a little chewed. Okay, $50 each on these. They are Ainsley and they're very nice. 10 each on the hobnail. $125 on the marbles. 80 on this nice box, which was Tiffany and Company. Well, that explains the price. Would have had a humidor in there originally, and this would be where you put your cigars. Cute muffineer. Egyptological. I'm sure this is Nippon from about 1925. It's got an electroplated nickel-silver mark on the side there. Speaking of humidors, this one doesn't fit in the Tiffany box, but it would have been along this line. This one's monogrammed from about 1900. And it has a quadruple plate label from about that time. Interesting set of flatware here. Kind of likable. The roses, there are people who love these little flowers. These are Chinese, though. They're later. The little English place card holders. Those look like they would go with a spode Christmas pattern. Nice napkin rings, but 100 a piece is out of my league. More cut crystal. These are $10 each. They might be Waterford. Yes, that is the Waterford mark right there. These are not a bad price. These are a size and a shape that sell. They probably could go for 20 to 25 each. This is a cute little teapot for $40. This looks like it's mid-20th century from China. 50 on this cup and saucer, Royal Albert. Only 10 on the other ones. These look like they're spode. Yes, the bouquet pattern. This one for $5 is closer to my price range from Limoges. This is a Royal Albert pattern as well. All pretty, but priced up for what I could pay. This is a neat old pattern glass with the ruby stain from about 1900 with the dine-ins, $25. Bunnykins by Royal Dalton, $15 on the mug. Is that for both pieces? Because I like the child's edition. This is an older one. The A lettering tells you they only did that for a little while. So this one is early on for these pieces, which came out at some point in the 30s. I'm thinking that's for the pair, and for the pair, for the older mark, I might take those. Old insulator. This is a bank for Rainier Bank, a local bank that was doing very well and then merged into somebody else. It's too bad it has chips because that would be of local interest. This is Pottery Craft. They did this little line. The Clay Menagerie. It's got the tag too, Sophisticat. Yes, $10. I just never see these now. I think I'll take that. So very many books. This is a good set here that sells. Just a lot to contemplate. Several people bought Coral earlier. $45 on that stock there. Amethyst geodes. The table it's on is interesting. It's brass with a brass bottom and wooden legs. I'm going to leave my bag in the whole pile because it's getting very heavy and there's so much more to see still. Wallace for president. Banff the Beautiful, it is. Nixon's the one that became ironic leader. Maddox for president. You don't see that often. These are reproduction from Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor in the 70s. Air Force Reserve. Now some of these are kind of interesting. Cute little huaraches, but not in great shape. I wonder if this is a studio artist. It doesn't seem to indicate. Great Blanco piece, but missing the stopper, unfortunately. $25 would have been a great price. Old stamps with various seals that are very official looking. Home of Miss Universe, Ottumwa, Iowa. Wow. Cute little marine ivory seal. Marine ivory is actually okay to buy. $25 is an okay price for a miniature. A horse brass from the Queen Silver Jubilee, but not very well formed. A horn carved as a bird, a Japanese puzzle box, but it's a little water damaged. Minnie Pooh shampoo. Ooh, that was nasty stuff. There's another big little book, but it is bent down the middle. Little hatchet from Valentine, Nebraska. I drove through there for the first time last year after hitting a swap meet in a tiny little town that was on the way there. The hatchets were popularized by Carrie Nation. Mr. Wright, wow. Old vanity plate there. The glug jug is an English one made in the 20th century. $30 on that. 1890s chew pots are few. This is a nice looking box, lap desk. It's all original. Little ink wells there. You would take these traveling with you. And that one is $40. That's not a bad price, actually, with the burl. Cute little girl picture. Sweet. Oh, interesting. I was not expecting that to be a dart. This is interestingly done with the raised decoration. It's just German redware from about 1920. This is missing its lid. Oh, I like this paperweight. Let's see who did this. It's priced at $25. It does not have a studio signature. I'm sure it's about 30 years old, but I can't say anything more about it. Let's see if this one has any clues. $35. Yeah, the clue is that it's made offshore. Old jail keys. They have 1,800 on these composts, but they are really magnificent. We sold something similar through Sotheby's at one point, but they had a lot of provenance from having been presented to a very important dignitary in England. Cartoons, comics, Sunset Magazine. It's a little drop front secretary desk for $120. The jar is full of Grandma Sailor's hair for $20, so you can have a little bit of Grandma Sailor. And this is Nippon with the Moromira Brothers Smart for Noritake. This is interesting. They did beads and apple seeds in frame. $40 is a nice price on this little end table. Neat piece here. This is Wells Fargo. They're asking $200 for that, but it is all handmade. Only $20 on Cutty Sarge. And they are asking $2,000 for the bronze, which has a good signature. Georges Gardet. It does look like an older one. It has a number on it, and it's on a very handsome sideboard. A walnut burl from about 1880. Lots of paper ephemera here. A scrapbook. Let's see what kind of scraps are in the scrapbook.
Have the entire collection. So I'm going to do all of these.
Navy meal ticket. Your guide to military service. From the Navy Department to Emily Wright. This is right at the end of World War II. Could be interesting. San Diego Electric Railway Company. This is when you were getting out and trying to find a job when everyone was coming back at the same time. But this was all from the end of the war, and people are more interested in the things happening during it. Later Esquire magazine. LA Free Press. Photography books here. $300 for the collection of postcards, but these are right around the time that the golden age of postcards happened, so I imagine there's some value there if you had the time to go through it all. The only problem is when they use these, a lot of times the postcards are faded in the corner, and that's a real problem. Old Mexico. The Sequoias, San Miguel Mission, talking about how much their trip costs. Chinatown in San Francisco. Well, this is interesting. Somebody took a big trip down the coast. Candid Snap. Triple inkwell in the vase is interesting for $45. $80 on the slab. Bunch of African carvings. Occupied, Western Airlines. Well, I like these because Western Airlines is gone now. And we do have a lot of airline collectors around here because, well, they make a lot of airplanes around here. Occupied, Northwest Orient, as it was called then. Ooh, a Plymouth Fury badge. We'll see if they want anything for that. Oh, all the posts have been snapped off, though. Well, I'll set it up there where people can see it. Nice little inkwell for only $12. I should look at this. It's just basic, but I really like that holder. Oh, but it had a handle that's broken. Okay. Do you have to lift things over carefully at estate sales because it's all they can do just to get this stuff out. They said they worked for months on this one, so you can't expect that they'll have marked every single thing as is. They're just doing their best. Senator Proxmire for president. George McGovern from the Senate sending a record talking about together we can win. He didn't, but it's an interesting concept and might have a collector. Complete 1960 Convention Guide. The American voter is 64, Congress at work. Is this Reagan running in 76 or is this running for governor? Yeah, this is 76. This is when he ran for governor. Seafarer, big local event in the summer here. Loads of photos, more than I think I could possibly spend all the time to go through. That looks like quite a banquet there, though. Old steamship line, $20 though. I like the stacking lawyer bookcases. I don't know if they're for sale. I haven't seen a price on them. Oh yes, here we go. $300. That's actually a pretty reasonable price, especially for a 4-stacker. Tempting. Little bronze elephant is $70. That's cute. $20 for the Eiffel Tower. This is a reproduction from the 70s of a carousel horse, but it's pretty cool. And they have a huge reproduction Tang Dynasty figure right here. $50 on the pipe. And this pipe, I don't think is real gold, although if it was, that could be a bargain, so I better look a little closer. You'd probably have to have a gold tester to say for sure. It's unlikely, though. Wild Rainier that would bob in your window, $50. To the loop radio for $50. $300 on the concertina. $200, that's about what I got for mine. Confederate $10 bills. Tapa cloth from Hawaii. $200 for that piece. David duck lamp just makes me laugh. And then a little more sophisticated is the Chelsea banjo clock with Mount Vernon shown. Right, we're headed down to the basement. And it's a ways. Big RC signs. The one with the mad taste. Lynn Kellogg, an exciting new television and recording star that I've never heard of. Baseball mitts for catchers. $20 on the press back chair is certainly a good price. They have a number of old Victorian chairs. Treadle sewing machine here. Very fancy, nice, ornate design. They are asking $150 on that. This is an interesting Japanese piece here. And then behind it is a very 80s mirror. They're asking $200. These are definitely coming back into style. The LPs and 45s have been pretty rifled through, I'd say. This is a handsome clock. Probably French, all marble, very heavy. The birds on the end are really interesting. $200 on that. Underwood typewriter. Big old brass candlestick holder. Let's see, $75 on the Western stoneware. That's the Western stoneware out of Monmouth, by the way. Some fresh figures. I'm only looking for the Virgin Mary. I don't want to steal the rest. This is neat. Sharp Brothers, Australia and New Zealand, original and largest hygienic brewers. That would definitely be worth it, but the shipping would be hell. All right, what else do we have here? The isomat. These things make such a horrible noise when they grind the ice, but they're pretty indestructible. I bet it still works. It's beige. It'd be more fun if it was a more exciting color, but still, if I can show that this works, I think I might get it, especially if it's cheap. Very thin teak. Some Wade Irish porcelain with the shamrocks. That's cute. Some brass up here. I do like this piece. This is just pot metal, made in Japan, 1920s or 30s. If there was a pair of these, they're just so interesting looking, I would get them. This looks like Artisanal Incarnata sitting here. And it is. There's our mark. Made in Uruguay. I don't see any chips. And it looks like he has a little friend who is damaged but doesn't go with him anyway, so that's fine. What else is down here? This looks like it's Murano. $20 is rather small, though. Some more English. This is Minton. Good company, Harlow pattern. Let's see what other pieces they have here. It looks like there's a whole set of these. Looks like a set of 8. I think we'll inquire. Mittens is good stuff. I mean, I'm sure this is all worth getting at some price, but I don't see a price on the box. So I'm just going to get the pieces that I really am interested in. Norwegian service piece here. Made out of pewter. Sterling or silver plate? Looks to be plate, no mark otherwise. Oh yes, Royal Austria, that's pretty set. Let's see who did this. It looks familiar somehow, but it's not. It just has that sort of mid-century look to it, I guess. A couple more coarse presses here, Pisces. Sleigh bells for $20, not a bad price. They're newish. I have a set similar. Various ceramic houses from England and other places. Actually, Taiwan, they look like English. Big old Taylor irons, but they are very rusty from being used as doorstops. Some Thai temple rubbings, but they're 60 each, and it took me a while to get that for mine. Sand paintings, 20 for the female. This is Gloria Thompson. And then these Curtis are from the 1970s or 80s when they started to sign everything. Nice hammered metal piece. These are from Turkey. We see a lot of them that came from the 1950s, even though they're hand hammered. People think they're older because of that, but they were still doing that kind of work there then. An old chrome travel kit for a gentleman in the 1920s or 30s. Well, there's lots of political buttons here. Most not too old. This one is United Airlines. This one is a radio station that was very popular here for a long time and is gone now. So I think it means we'll take that for local interest. A Z-Wezzy, I think, is a rug cleaner. Expo 74. Wild Route Charlie, that's for the hydroplane races at Seafair every year. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Someone will nerd out on that. This looks like an original era smiley face button. Morris for President, 1992. Well, there's a few kind of fun ones. The kitchen clock for $80. Nice design. It has the alarm in the center. The hanging oak telephone is only $40, but the receiver's a little bit messed up. I like the open work on this. $15 is pretty inexpensive. It's not terribly old, though. $65 on the mantle clock. $60 on the wash stand pitcher. $150 is a nice price on this Eastlake moon-carved dresser with the area to the right to keep your gloves and small accessories, and then your drawers below. The totem is plastic, so is the tiki. Cut on the drum is interesting. $10. This is a shaving mug here, and this one's a mustache cup. You see the difference. The shaving brush has to drain on this, whereas this is just to keep the mustache from getting stuff in it. When you're drinking out of this very cute early 1900s Japanese cup. I do like the old bells, but I think I've got one right now in stock. This is a Boy Scout collapsible drinking cup from the early years, probably 1920s or so, but $15 is pretty much what I would get for it. $80 on this. I really love the pink Formica top. The safe for $150 is a pretty good price. Norris Safe and Lock Company from Seattle and Portland. Hopefully they have the combination. $10 on the Playboy deck of cards, but those are pretty common. Big old quilt for $35. Wonder if anyone has looked at these. They're sort of shoved in the back here. Oh, it has a tear. This looks like 1940s, judging by the fabrics. There's one above it here, also has tears. Lots and lots of playing cards. Now, World Airways was interesting because that was a charter company, so you don't see that as much. We'll see, that might be cheap. These also tend to sell where they have the different cities for Delta Airlines. And then there's Braniff, but you see a lot of these because when they went out of business, that's what they were producing for them, so there's tons of those. Cathay Pacific, Alaska Airlines, which is local. So we see a lot of those too. Let's see what these other Deltas are. Oh, are they cities? Fort Lauderdale, Washington, San Francisco, and LA. Well, again, if the price is right, I have just been on a playing card kick lately. They actually sell pretty decently if you don't pay too much. Here's some interesting ones back here. Cards that talk. These have various Asian languages on them. This one's sealed, so we'll take that. National Airlines was originally based in St. Petersburg, Florida, and so these would probably sell there, and they're sealed, so we'll take one of those. $150 on this mid-20th century chest with the Asian figures. Peanut State book, but they want $20 a piece on those, which is about what they sell for. Operation Deep Freeze. Yes, my dad was involved in this. Still have a bunch of his stuff from it. I like that. This is fun. Speaking of penguins, this is a Wendy Morgan design back from the late 70s. I remember seeing these around. Crane Creek Graphics out of Wyoming was the publisher. Droll Stories from the Abbeys of Touraine by Balzac. Translated 1910. Cool cover. The Underground Railroad. My ancestors were involved with that. And then there's this guy, and he's going to fluoresce under a black light. And they only have $10 on him. But the question is, does he have any age? And I don't think so, because he has a battery place. I think we're in our last room now. 1970 Pan Am advertising calendar. That's kind of cool. I think you can get this effect even within the camera, op art. Tons of paper ephemera. One of the local music surveys, and KJR was the big AM station, when that's what there was. Somebody made this Lane Cedar chest a bright orange affair. Books of the World's Progress, a bunch more Time Life, various series. So many books. I know that this is going to be a good sale for some serious book people. Wacky Chicks. Planisphere. Oh yes, it shows you the stars. This is from the 80s. I remember those being very popular at that time. Preserving Your Paper Collectibles. This probably be a useful book. Nostalgia World Comics section, $20. Well, that lets me out. Star Trek Concordance. Capital Airlines. This is an old Moisten sticker from Wheaties. Aw, the base. They've just gone under, unfortunately. This could be interesting. Lear Motors. They were trying to invent an engine that would keep up with the new requirements back in the 70s. It's a shame these are damaged, because people do collect these old American Airlines and other carriers that had these photos of their various stuff, as well as Air Force things, but condition matters. Lady Godiva seems to have put the cart before the horse. Oh, this was a cool thing. A 30s era Labatt's beer truck that they restored for the World's Fair in Vancouver. The Streamliner. Funkatech. This looks like it was some sort of a rave. Old race stuff like that is starting to be collectible, because you just don't really see much of it. That generation didn't keep that stuff. Mitzi Gaynor at Harrah's Reno. Wow. Lots and lots of magazines. And then more paper ephemera here. More photos of various airplanes. And correspondence about them. If they'd just been stored better. They certainly have sold a lot of this around here over the years, but condition matters. Boeing printed matter. Let's see what's in here. Stickers. Oh, the first Boeing airplane. Yeah, this looks like it's a folio cleans through the years. Culminating in the 757, so this is 1980s. You could win a 92 Mazda Miata. There's actually one parked in the driveway next door to this place. This is a game that you would play to move things around, and then it advertises solder seal, and it shows you how it's supposed to all be there, but it is missing one. Northwest Orient did these fun paperweights through the years with a calendar on them. This is 1986 though, and I've already got that. One more room. I lied. I didn't know there was another one. Oh, student's desk. Looks like maybe kind of a cool table under there. Let's take a look. I gotta set down my box though. Oh, it's long. It's $100 and it's a big long coffee table. I don't really have any place to put that, but it's cool. This wants to be Navajo, but it's not tied at the corners. And it is made in India. See the difference. Nice 4-model radio here. The old Zenith from the 1930s is $80. Would need some restoration. Fun tiki light carvings over here. but they're asking 80 and 100 for those, and that's more than I would be able to spend on them. And more books. Brady's Civil War is interesting because of the photos. He chronicled a lot of what happened during the Civil War. Wow, big old pine cones in a $60 copper boiler. Utility table looks like it's pretty worn. Oh, Aborigines in the outback. Interesting. Nice Italian style leather chair, but it is newer. And what a nice size this little drop front is. Only $80. It's got the mirror. It's got the secretary front. This would be a great phone stand or something near a front door. Big old geode there. Priced at $150. Well, I found some more ephemera. We've got Bremerton telephone directory from the World's Fair year, and lots of decorator phones on the back. These brothers were having fun with Santa at Frederick and Nelson in 1959, and some Seattle World's Fair stuff as well. Here's another Christmas. Ooh, that kid's not having so much fun with Santa Claus, and Santa Claus looks pretty over it as well. All right. For New Zealand and Australia, Space Center in Houston, some more postcards, a couple more World's Fair. Love the totem poles. That was such a neat idea, the modernist totem poles. You can get little miniatures of those if you can find them. And tickets to the World's Fair. The gateway with all the rides. Packard Motorsport Merit Award. This would have been, ooh, the Panther Daytona. This was a show car. Show car stuff is good. Yeah, we're going to take that. This was a very expensive car, $10,000 in 1956. Just beautiful. He didn't make them long. They couldn't make money at that rate. Back then, people wouldn't pay this much. New Zealand slang, colloquialisms from New Zealand. That would be really fun, but a lot of that has changed, so I don't know how relevant this would be, but it's an interesting book. Well, I spent 2 hours at that estate, and now it's time to drive through downtown Seattle and head home. Then we'll check out what we got. All right, well, I made it home and I unpacked. I spent $184 and I actually got a lot of stuff, and there's some good things. We'll start up here. This estate was not really about pretty decorative objects or glass or china, but we'll start with those because we did get a few. These are Bunnykins by Royal Dalton, and these are older ones because they have the letter mark. These are just so cute, and some of these older ones, and particularly this shape for the Child's Bowl, have been discontinued for a while. I only paid $15 for the pair, and because they're older ones, they will sell for a decent amount more than that. These, I think, were only $15 as well. They're butter pats, and it's a set of 8, but this is Minton, and Minton is good china. This is the Warlow pattern, which is one of their more famous floral patterns, and having the whole set of 8. These really should probably sell, you know, if you priced them individually, you could probably expect about $8 a piece, which means about $65 for a $15 investment. This, I just like muffineers. I think the stuff they put the powdered sugar in is cool, and this is from right around the time of King Tut's tombs being discovered. I was sure this was going to be Nippon when I picked it up, but it has no mark at all. It was $10. I feel like it should sell for about $25 to $30. This I paid $9.50 for. Happy Anniversary. This is the Sophisticat from the Clay Menagerie by Pottery Craft, the company I wrote the book on. I just don't see these figures very often. They were a popular gift line in the late 70s. This is a miner's lamp, and these sell for me pretty well for about $25 to $30 each in Kentucky, and this one was only $12. So I went ahead and got it. This one was made in the United States. They're a different shape than the ones made in Europe. The other pretty item I got was this. It's a Victorian fish fork, and the reason I got it, it was only $2, and it has the fish in the design, and that made it a little more special, even though it's silver plate. I don't buy a lot of silver plate, but I'll occasionally buy some sort of a showy piece like this because they do sell. So much of the rest of what we got is ephemera of various types. So let's start from here. I got a lot of local interest things. This was from Boeing back in the 1990s, but it shows pictures of all of the aircraft they made from the very first in 1916 to what was current in the early 90s. This is the Ham's Beer Bear, and it's just a refrigerator magnet. But, you know, these things were like $1.50 or $2 each. The Antarctica plate is pretty good. These can sell for as much as $45 a piece. I believe I've paid under 10. You just don't see these very often because, of course, there's not really any cars in Antarctica to speak of. I did get the Lady Godiva picture. She's in her birthday suit, so we'll just leave it behind there. But I thought it was entertaining, and it's actually kind of artful. This book, Inside the Playboy Mansion, was released shortly before Hugh Hefner's death. And of course, Playboy and the Playboy Mansion are completely different than they were then. And it was $50 new. And when I see a book that was that expensive new, I figure there's a good aftermarket, especially since it was only $5 at the estate sale. And it turns out that these are selling for somewhere between $20 and $45. This I only got because I've noticed that these expanding multicolored rulers from the 1960s seem to sell well. And I think it was all of about $2. This guy was $5. He's a huge fold-out card of the Tasmanian Devil. Too much fun and too great graphically for $5 to leave behind. Sometimes people enjoy having these out at Christmas. We also got a credit card from the Bay with the stripes like they have on the old Hudson's Bay blankets. I wonder if he's going to get the right to make those now that the Bay is no longer going to be a retail operation. Then I got a bunch of World's Fair stuff. When I see an older Seattle estate, I always look for World's Fair, and they had a lot of ephemera, and I had a feeling they'd have some pieces, and they did. This pad is the thing I spent the most on. It was $15. It's cleaned up pretty well. I could do a little more cleaning on it, but these usually sell for about $30 to $35 because you just don't see many of them. Most of them were used until they fell apart. And then there's some ephemera from displays. 1 million silver dollars in a big display at the World's Fair would now be worth somewhere in the range of $30 million. This is a telephone directory from Bremerton, the town I grew up closest to. And this is from October 1961, and they have the World's Fair logo and the overview of the World's Fair on it. Telephone directories are already collectible as it is. Usually a small town directory like this will sell for anywhere between $15 and $30. But this one being World's Fair should probably sell for even more. And then some just basic things, World's Fair postcards. Here's tickets from the World's Fair. This folio showing Washington and various scenes. All of these seem to sell well now. They sell to local people who collect, and they sell to tourists. Down here, a couple of press photos for 57 Packards when they were basically Studebakers with fancier trim. The Knott's Berry Farm, the magazine there, these sell for about $20 online. And again, I paid about $1.50 or $2 for all of these pieces. The Telephone in America, this sells for $8 or $10. They had various versions of these over the years. This is from about 1950, as is this. And this is pretty good. Hiller helicopters. The helicopter was a pretty new invention in 1950. And then this lot here, I'm just taking a chance on this because, again, it didn't cost a lot, but it is Lear Motors. The same people who had Learjet really wanted to basically bring back the old steam engine. And this was in the late 60s when there was talk about pollution control. The Lear Vapordyne did not actually ever end up being produced, but they did make a concept car. And this person kept all sorts of articles and things related to it. And we have this letter with the signature of William P. Lear himself. So I have a feeling that this is going to be pretty collectible to some car wonk. And I don't know what to expect because no one has ever really had this in any recent time that I could find. So we don't have a comparable sale. We'll just have to try it ourselves. Then here we have the Miss Universe beauty pageant, the 1955 program from Long Beach, California. Only a certain number of people could actually go, so only a certain number of people bought the magazine, and yet Miss Universe and the beauty pageant concept was popular with a lot of people beyond that. And because of that, these sell pretty well. oftentimes in the $35 to $50 range. The people who had the sale did price up some of the ephemera, but there was so much. There was no way they were going to be able to sort through it all. This is a record from Senator George McGovern when he was running for president in 1972. Together we can win. Well, he didn't win. He got blown out, mainly because President Nixon mechanized the Vietnam War and started bringing troops home. President Nixon, unfortunately, was so paranoid about whether he would win or not that the Watergate burglars were sent in to get information from the Democratic committee headquarters. And that was the beginning of Watergate and Nixon's undoing. And then I bought in themes. I really like airline stuff. Seattle's definitely an airline town. Lots of people collecting defunct airline stuff and old things from airlines. These were only a couple dollars each. You can learn Japanese while you're flying to Tokyo. This little guy is just cute. You try to get the mouse into the mouse trap. I'm not very good at these dexterity games. They sell typically between $8 and $20. Two big little books. I'm careful about these because they don't sell like they used to, but I look for certain ones. Roy Rogers was in really good shape, and Dick Tracy is another one that's popular enough and has transcended time, and I paid $5 each for those. Mitzi Gaynor at Harrah's in Reno. I thought that was fun. From probably about 1970. And Jim Neighbors and Merle Haggard are coming soon. Then I got car ephemera. These are press photos, these black and whites. This looks like someplace that's trying to look like New Orleans, with the Cadillac Eldorado Brougham 4-door hardtop sedan, 1957 with the Dagmar bumpers. This one talks about where the Continental is made. That's the 1956 Lincoln Continental. This one was the Packard Caribbean, or Caribbean, depending on how you pronounce that. And this has the information from the Studebaker Packard Corporation about the sleek new Packard. And this was a luxury convertible, beautiful car in 1955. And I find that these press photos typically sell for $15 or $20. Then there were these. These could be real sleepers because all of these relate to 1950s show cars, concept cars, things that were not actually built. So you have the old Starfire. These are 3 different Chrysler ideas for potential new cars, and this one is the Packard Panther Daytona. The flyer sells for $15, but the press photo is not something I've seen sell at all. This talks about how it's special for the Easter Parade of Stars Auto Show at the Waldorf Astoria in New York. And this is why it pays to dig through ephemera when you find a big collection. I'm sure I could have spent a lot more money and bought a lot of other pieces, but these really rang the bell with me. So spent $184, estimating a retail value around $500 on these by the time we get them all sold. So that was a wonderful estate sale, lots of fun. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. Stick with me, we'll have more adventures coming your way soon from all over the place in the antique and vintage world.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.